I would like to call the July 15, 2024 regular meeting to order. It is 5:30 p.m. There is a quorum present. Notice of this meeting has been posted for a time and manner required by law. Mr. Jones, would you please call the roll?
Sir. Cliff Williams. Present. Scott Carson.
Present.
Charles Perry. Present. Kyle Hagemeyer.
Present.
Ms. Paulette Traylor.
Present.
My name is Chad Jones. Our missing member is Ms. Nikita Lagway. Thank you.
Public comments. The board will hear comments from the audience only during the public comment portion of the meeting. The public comment portion of the meeting will be no more than 30 minutes total. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board. Groups of 5 or more who wish to express the same viewpoint on an issue must appoint a representative to speak for the group and will have 3 minutes to present, unless the topic is an item on the board agenda. Please respect the privacy of others and refrain from identifying students, employees, and other community members by name. I will determine whether the speaker has attempted to solve this matter administratively through resolution channels established by policy. If not, the speaker will be referred to the appropriate policy to seek resolution. Disruption of this meeting will not be tolerated at any time. Per board policy, the board does not respond during public comments. This evening we have a first public speaker with me, Ms. Diane Hibner.
This afternoon, I have 2 points regarding action to be taken by the school board and action to be completed by school board member position 5. Number 1, action required by the school board. It has previously been stated that the poor decisions by the previous administration and sanction by the school board have created a lack of trustworthiness in the minds of the public. It is time for a member of the school board to speak up. Might I suggest the president of the school board, who represents all the members, both past and present. Remember that all of you drank the Kool-Aid which was served by the previous administration. It is time for individuals who were responsible for past mistakes to speak out. In other words, eat some crow. The community will hear you, and maybe trust can begin to be reestablished. This is one way to put the past behind us so that we can move into the future. It is simple. Admit to past mistakes and indicate that we are now on a new path with a new direction. A new superintendent, many new administrative staff members, new procedures to correct past failures, thus making accountability realism. Renewed focus of educational goals, thus creating an educational environment of which we can all be proud. Energize staff and personnel. Everyone matters. Everyone plays a part in creating the WISD community. Number 2, action required by school board member position number 5. Let's direct our attention to school board member position 5. Your trial for your DWI charge is quickly approaching. As a member of the WISD school board, the trial results will become a part of the news cycle, whether you want it or you do not. You owe it to your fellow colleagues, the WISD students, and the WISD community to resign immediately to lessen the effect of this story. You are no longer an effective leader. It is time to move on so that this position can be filled with an individual who is respected by the community and is able to become a productive member of the school board. You owe it to yourself and to we, the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hibner. We will now turn over to Dr. James. Pledge of Allegiance.
Now we'll go ahead and move to the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation given to us by Mr. Travis Utek. If you'll please stand.
Everyone please stand. American flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas,
Dear God, at this time, we just want to come to you and just thank you for allowing us to be here today and the blessings that we have to live in this great nation that you provided. First off, we just want to ask that you be with all those who are still been affected at this time by the hurricane that has come through our area and all across Texas and the rest of our country. Just be with those people who are still suffering and just dealing with the emotions of that event. We also ask you just to be with our country in general with the events that happened a couple of days ago in Pennsylvania. And I just pray that your guidance and your blessing and your leadership can still be on our country at this time as we go through those moments. I also ask that you specifically be with us this year in Willis ISD at this school board meeting tonight. And just the work that's being done here, God, is work that is still for you and is work that it's about you. I just pray that you give us the wisdom and the guidance we need to do the best we can for the students and the community of Willis ISD. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you so much, Travis. I appreciate you acknowledging the tragedy and the tragedy of our weather and the tragedy of this weekend. It doesn't go unnoticed, and we have a lot of work to do here in our community in what we do in helping our students grow to be productive citizens, and so I thank you for that. We have a few reports, the regular standing informational and ad hoc reports and items, and those are the safety performance report. It's in your bulletin, your book, as well as the financial bill payment report and bond summary, which was done a little bit different by Garrett. And we also have the investment report. So I want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions at this time.
Any questions? Okay.
All right.
Consent agenda. A, approval of minutes. B, school lunch prices 2024-2025. School lunch prices for 2020, the adult prices, and then the student lunch price for 2024-2025. D, 3 to 6 is the contracted services for 2024-2025 school year. Any questions? Mr. Williams.
Make a motion we approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Ms. Traylor. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Discuss and possible action items. A, discuss, consider approval of 2024-2025 health insurance program.
I'm going to introduce Laura Baltney from Walker & Associates, and she's going to present our health insurance renewal.
Thanks, Garrett. And thank you, board members, and welcome, Dr. James. It's nice to see you. So we will be looking back. Part of the review and the update that we do is to sort of go back in time. So we'll see how you finished your year end. So for 2022-2023, the total net plan cost for the Willis ISD Health Plan ended at $7 million. Your maximum liability, so that would have been equivalent to fully insured premium. If the district was not self-insured, you would have been paying out that maximum cost of $7.6 million. You did exceed your expected liability, so the plan did run a little bit hot in 22-23, although that being said, you did save $500,000. But I will draw your attention to the stop-loss reimbursements. This is how you know that the plan experienced many high claims. The amount of those reimbursements at $2.8 million, and that means that you had high claimants who met that $160,000 threshold, and you had several of them in order to get to that $2.8 million. Overall, not a horrible year, but definitely this year is better. So let's talk a little bit about that. This is your 6-month review, and I know we're a little bit out from that at this point, but this gives you a snapshot of how you're running. So your total net plan cost at 6 months, you're at $3.1 million, and that puts you on track for the 23-24 year end at $6.3 million. So that's a much better year that you're having this year than 22-23, and that's a 35% decrease from the previous reporting period. Your overall in-network savings with Blue Cross Blue Shield was excellent at 71%. The breakdown of that, inpatient at 67%, outpatient at 73%, and professional at 67%. And that's one of the things that Blue Cross does well, is their in-network discounting and the broadness of the Blue Choice network. Your self-funded savings since 2015 is $8.5 million, so it has been good for the district over time in order to save money by being self-funded. At this reporting period, you did not have any high-cost claimants over the $160,000 threshold for the 6-month period, but you did have some claims approaching that. You can see the list of the top 5 high-cost claimants by diagnosis category. So infectious parasitic at $117,000, digestive at $112,000, injury poisoning $96,000, infection parasitic $77,000, and the neoplasms, which is cancer, and that should be $74,000. I apologize, there's a typo there. $74 million would not be good. Top diagnoses, perinatal was the most costly diagnostic category at the close of the reporting period with what we call per member per month. So that's a metric of how we show cost at $46. And the top 5 diagnoses by per member per month include the following: perinatal, neoplasms, pregnancy, injury poisoning, and musculoskeletal. In 22-23, what drove your high-cost claimants was, of course, a NICU baby, and you do have a very high female population being a school district, so there's always the potential for complicated pregnancies as part of your high-cost claimant mix. And then we look at enrollment. Your enrollment's actually down about 4.6% from the previous reporting period. The average age of your member in the health plan is 35 years. Your membership breakdown, 69% employees, 4.6% spouses, and 26% dependents. Pharmacy increased slightly by 12% compared to the previous reporting period, and your pharmacy spend breakdown, specialty at 51%, brand at 41%, and generic at 8%. Your generic dispensing rate is at 88%, an increase over the previous reporting period, and that's an excellent generic dispensing rate. So I will just draw attention to some of the historical plan changes. It's been almost a decade since we made some of these very impactful changes to the plan, so we really haven't had to make many over the last decade. So in 2015-2016 is when we made the last round of major changes, not only to funding, but also to plan design. We added the high-value network to Plan 2. You can see we made some major adjustments to the prescription benefits as well. And because of that, during that time, you've only had to make some minor changes in 17-18, 21-22, and then last year, 22-23. So when you are able to see how your plan is running, it allows you the ability to forecast and make those changes appropriately and sometimes ahead of time. Willis made these changes in 2016. TRS made these similar changes to their pool in 2019. So Willis was really a trendsetter there, and so it's allowed you to not have to make major drastic changes when you've had a tough year. That being said, you are now in a space for the next decade to come where we do need to make some of those planning focus. And so I will just give this to you as a historical reference point and let you know that you've managed the plan very well over time. But next year I know that Garrett and I are looking forward to working on what those new changes might be looking forward so that you have a 10-year plan to really draw on as we go through those renewals. Any questions? So just as I mentioned, the changes that you've made to your health plan have been very impactful, not only to your costs, but also to your employees by keeping their premiums low. So you'll notice that your premiums compared to TRS Active Care are much more affordable. And this year, TRS Active Care is again raising their premiums for the 24-25 plan year. So being self-funded has allowed Willis ISD to be very, very competitive when it comes to premiums for employees and also to managing your health plan over time. So I am recommending the renewal, and you'll notice that's our last slide. So Blue Cross, even though you had a wonderful year this year, they really did try to give you a rather significant increase in your claim factor. We were able to hold your fixed cost flat for this upcoming year, which is a pretty significant negotiation. So last year you were paying $1.6 million in fixed costs. This year you'll still be paying 1.6 in fixed costs. Those are the dollars we know that you will spend. The claims liability is you may have it, you may not, depending on what the claims mix was for this year. Last year, how we're running for 23-24, we're expecting the total cost of your plan to come in at around 6.3 for this year. So even though your max is set at 8.5, more than likely you won't run there. You'll probably run somewhere closer to expected. And so we are recommending the renewal with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas. Any questions?
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve Blue Cross Blue Shield as the district's health insurance carrier and approve the monthly funding levels as proposed in the funding level exhibit for the 2024-25 year plan.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Mr. Williams. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much for your time this evening, and have a nice one.
Thank you. I have no idea. I don't know how to turn this off. It's on silent.
Maybe Stephen does.
Yeah. Throw it in the trash and step on it. Item B, discuss, consider approval of approving employee missed workday forgiveness for days missed week July 8th through the 11th, 2024.
Thank you, Mr. President, Board, Dr. James. We are coming to you as you realize the hurricane caused power outages, damages not just our family, but our campuses, departments. And that required many of our staff that were on duty to have to miss work because of that, mainly our office staff. We had two groups of workers on at that time, our 226-day workers at the campus level and district level, and then our 260-day employees, which are our emergency response personnel that need to come up. So we are asking for you to waive the makeup days for those employees that were directed not to report.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve to waive the missed work days the week of July 8th through July 11th, 2024 of the indicated district employees for inclement weather conditions, damage, and district loss of electricity due to the recent hurricane, and pay full compensation to those employees for these days.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Ms. Traylor. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I want to say some things real quick. Guys, y'all did a great job. I saw a lot of these people out here working hard. I was driving around looking at these projects, maintenance department, land, they did a great job, and I really appreciate that.
All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Item C, discuss, consider approval of classroom furniture.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, board members, Dr. James, and a final salute to Carol Rogers. We're bringing you an agenda item this evening to address classroom furniture needs in the district. Last year, we spent about $35,000 on furniture to address those needs. This year, in conjunction with IT&L, the business office, and our department, we assessed what we think are going to be the needs for the fall when kids come back in August. The majority of these are items that we're going to put directly into a classroom, i.e. desks, chairs, teacher's desks, and horseshoe tables, things along those lines. The campus needs are broken down as you see. The majority of them are, or all of them are classroom needs. We're going to outfit several items at C.C. Hardy. We're going to have 5 new classrooms at Cannon Elementary we need to outfit, 2 at Lagway, 6 at Brabham, and the high school is going to be receiving enough to do 5 new classrooms.
I've got a question. The classrooms at Lagway, are they rooms that we're converting to classrooms? Are they regular size rooms, or are they full size rooms, or what? Because it says 2 rooms to classrooms.
Traditionally, what they're doing is taking spaces that are utilized for a different purpose right now, but I don't know specifically, but I can get you an answer to that question.
Yeah.
It's 2 of our science labs are being transforming into a classroom. So they're maybe just a tad smaller. I'm not really sure what the dimensions are, but they're 2 science labs going into classrooms.
Were you utilizing those rooms as science labs?
Yes, ma'am.
As you can see, we have provided you kind of a breakdown on elementary and secondary needs and what we're going to be receiving. As you analyze this list, you'll probably notice that the majority of this growth area is in secondary, primarily Brabham, and the high school for desks and chairs.
And also when I looked at this, that's 11 classrooms. So we're putting 39 desks and chairs in those 11 classrooms? Are we going to maybe meet our square footage by the state? On student pupil ratio?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
Some of the furniture is to replace furniture, but it's not operational, so it's not increasing the number of students in every one of those classrooms, but to make sure that students have.
But they could possibly have 39 kids in their classrooms.
For the upper grades, I don't have the numbers exactly right now, but.
So we're looking at like some of the DC and AP classes at the high school potentially. We're working on getting those ratios down, whether we're collapsing classes or stacking different classes to get them down. I know in the past we've gotten kind of high, and we're looking at those numbers, Dr. Clardy and Noah, at reducing those numbers as much as possible, get them down to a range that's normal, I would say more normal for those classes, which could be from 32 to 35. That's the goal.
Okay.
For AP and DC classes.
I just know in some of our older classrooms, you know, they're not that big, and you start putting 36, 37, 38 kids in those rooms, there's not much room left to move around in.
Is there any further discussion? Do we have a motion for item C? Mr. Williams.
Move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the expenditure for $134,745.81 from the general fund for the purchase of classroom furniture for the school specialty, from school specialty to equip the district with its needs.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Ms. Traylor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item D, discuss, consider approval of purchase over $50,000 for Cannon Ford. This item has more information as requested and will be tabled at this time. Item E, discuss, consider possible action item for proposed construction contract with Spear Point Engineering Services for the Willis High School parking lot expansion project.
Thank you, Board. Dr. James. Construction contract for Spear Point Engineering for design services for the Willis High School parking lot expansion. The proposal and the contract that you have before you is based on a 6% construction, a 6% fee for construction budget. We put the dollar amount of $270 in there for that, Spear Point's contract, because I know the board has always asked, what is that dollar amount equal to? So that's why we put the dollar amount. Normally it's just a percentage. So the contract is based on 6% of construction budget. As of right now, our construction budget is $4.5 million for the parking lots. So if we take the 6 and the 4.5 or 4 million, that's where it basically ends up.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. This is funded by the 2024 Bond Prop A. It's part of the expansion for the 9th grade center. The design will start in July of 2024. We'll be finished with the design in January of 2025. And this is strictly for parking lot expansion. I know last month we spoke of, when you approved Spear Point last month, there was concern about path of travel for cars and parking. We're working with another firm for that, which we already have signed up, Kimberly Horn. We're working with them with the route, and we'll continue to work with them as we increase the parking.
Mr. Jones.
Sir, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the contract with Spear Point Engineering for the design services on the Willis High School parking lot expansion funded from the 2024 bond program.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Carson. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item F, discuss, consider possible action item on proposed design contract with Huckabee Architects Design Services for small capital projects, CTE's hay storage building, and WHS screen walls.
Yes, this was the contract that you have before you is the contract for Huckabee for 2 projects. We combine them as one. Our legal team advised us to combine them as one contract instead of 2 separate ones. Huckabee was approved last month for design services for the CTE Ag hay storage and the Willis High School locker room screen walls. This contract is not based on a fee base, it's based on a lump sum because the size of the projects are very small, so they actually did this on a lump sum basis, and that's what this is designed for, based on. And we put the dollar amounts for each one of them. The hay storage, Huckabee will be paid $21,000, and then the screen walls will be paid $31,000. Because I know the board asked what the dollar amounts are. So
know what's coming?
Yeah, so we put it in there.
All right.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir. I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the contract for Huckabee Architects to provide architectural professional service for the small capital improvement project listed above. When do you think that timeline is on? Sorry, Kyle. When are you going to start that stuff?
Well, we should be finished with design by the end of the summer. That's what we're anticipating, and actually start construction as soon as possible, hopefully in September or October.
Okay.
We have a motion, or is that?
Yes, that's a motion.
So we have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Carson. Any further discussion? I know that we have to get all these architects involved to go do these projects to get through the city of Conroe.
Yes, these projects will have to be permitted, and that's the reason we've had to obtain.
I mean, there's no way for us to build them and ask for forgiveness. We should be able to build a hay barn for $21,000, not hire somebody to design it for. I mean, I know I'm just pretty cheap, but it just, and I know we probably don't have another source. But is that the reason that we're having to go through this process?
Not the only reason, only because we're right next to a detention pond, and we have to obtain the legal services from our structural engineer, our civil engineer, because in 5 or 7 or 8 years, we don't want for the concrete to start failing. Yes, we could possibly design it through the construction department because we've been doing this our entire careers, but we're not engineers to design that side of it, so we want to be safe and that where it's going to be long term.
didn't even think about the tenth pond, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Discuss, consider, and take possible action items to retain the professional engineering services of HTS Inc. Consultants for materials testing for various district projects.
Yeah, HTS has been a key partner for the district over the several years. We're asking for the board to approve them as our material testing firm. This is going through our legal department. Blake is here. He's requested that we bring this up to the board for approval. Any professional services that someone provides has to be approved by the board. So we're asking HTS to be approved by the board for our design, material testing for future projects. So that way, when we issue them a contract, it's not a full-blown contract for every single one. It's just, it's what Blake calls it, something else. It's a short form, so to speak. And HTS has been a key role to our success for material testing in the district over the years.
Mr. Carson.
Move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve, retain the professional services of HTS Incorporated Consultants for materials testing on various school district projects to approve the contract with HTS Incorporated Consultants to perform materials testing for Gravel Middle School turf project, and delegate authority to the superintendent and her delegee to sign the agreement with HTS Incorporated Consultants.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Ms. Traylor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item H, consider possible action item to determine the goods and services delivery method providing the best value for baseball and softball outfield fence padding.
We're requesting the delivery method by using the cooperative for goods and services for the baseball, softball, outfield fence padding. This is being driven. There was an accident recently with someone that ran into the fencing. That's a metal corrugated fence. So we have funds left over in the 22 bond in that budget for that particular project. We're going to continue using those funds, and we want to put outside padding, along. It's a 3-inch thick vinyl padding on that fence. We were going to obtain 3 bids, and as of now, our construction budget for that is $150,000. And we're asking to use the cooperative method for goods and services.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir. I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve utilizing a purchasing cooperative as the delivery method, provided the best value for the Willis baseball and softball field fence padding project.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Williams. Is there any further discussion?
We're going to come in a lot less than that, one.
Yes, we are.
All right.
I actually changed it at the last minute. My budget was $100,000, and then at the time that we put this book together, we only had two numbers that we thought that were going to come in. It was a lot higher than that, but the third one, we think we can actually get it for under 100.
All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item I, discuss and consider approval to amend 2024-2025 regular school board meeting schedule.
Thank you, President Hagemeyer. Due to the need of an election deadline, it's proposed to amend the 24-25 regular school board meeting schedule to reflect the Wednesday, August 21st, 2024 meeting to be changed to Monday, August 19th of 2024.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve to amend the 2024-2025 regular school board meeting schedule to change the Wednesday, August 21st, 2024 meeting to Monday, August 19th, 2024.
We have a motion by Ms. Traylor, a second by Mr. Carson. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item J.
In my book, we missed the scope increase for Yates Stadium.
Yeah, in my book, I got that as well.
And it's not listed in the agenda, but I've got it in my board book.
Okay, so that is an item when, that's why we're having a special board meeting next Monday morning on the 8th. It was in the board book when we had to come back and revise and reschedule the meeting. That got left out of the agenda, and I was looked at it and missed it, and so we're going to have a special board meeting to approve that on next Monday morning at 8 o'clock. And so that was the reason for that meeting.
There's a posting error. Thank you for catching up.
Item J. Did we vote on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. No, we voted, didn't we? Did we vote on that?
Yeah, we just did.
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
we
perfect.
voted.
Sorry, guys. Discuss, consider approval of TASB local policy update 123.
Thank you so much, President Kyle. Attached, you're going to find in your board policy and in the board update a lengthy policy regarding update 123. It was presented for adoption. So we would like to just briefly kind of go over those policies. We know that it was in your handbook or in your board book, but we definitely want to make sure you all are aware and have an opportunity to ask questions. And so I'll start with my first section, and mine is BBD, BBFA, and GF. All of those policies deal with our board policies and how we conduct ourselves as a board and a team. So the first one, board training BBD, which is local, requires our trustees to complete training on the Public Information Act if the Attorney General finds that there's been a violation of the Act. It also clarifies that this training after a violation cannot be delegated to our district's Public Information Act coordinator, which could be me. So I can't do that in your stead. It means that we all have to take that. BBFA local is dealing with ethics, a conflict of interest disclosures. What this actually does is strengthens the ethical duty of our trustees to disclose financial or other personal interest in board transactions. It also goes beyond the statutory conflicts of interest set out in our state and federal law. And lastly, there's added language which aims to demonstrate a commitment to avoiding undue influence, increasing transparency, and avoiding the appearance of impropriety in our public dealings, which I believe that is what we've been really striving to do at every one of our board meetings, and I know that y'all have expected that, so thank you. And then lastly is public complaints, GF, which is also local, and that is updated to reflect changes made within a CKE policy, which is earlier. No changes were made to the core complaint process, which were outlined in our GF local. It references our legal issues in Update 123, which is a memo which calls for more information on common legal concerns and best practices related to public complaints. We'll find this memo, and we can go deeper into this later under local manual updates on policy online through TASB. And so I'll be able to definitely help you with that as we go deeper. Next I have Travis.
All right, so I have a couple of slides of some change in policies. The first one there is emergency plan, CKC local. This is a section on notice regarding violent activity. It's recommended to comply with legal requirements. So once it's been approved by you guys, administrative procedures will have to be created to align with TEA's model standards. Then CKEC local, compliance and clarification with House Bill 3. This was the school safety bill, of course, after the incident in Uvalde. Districts may have agreements with multiple law enforcement agencies depending on district needs and jurisdiction. And then a statement regarding the jurisdiction of school resource officers has also been added to the board policy. And then F&G local, really with just a couple of words that were changed because of other change to policies and legal, just added a couple of words there, the and series, and that's it. All right, and then my second slide. All right, this is to do with instructional resources. So EF local is going away completely because it's being deleted from policy because they're splitting it into two, EFA and EFB. EFA has to do with instruction materials. Basically, this says that selection instruction materials must be chosen in accordance with stated objectives and administrative regulations. And then at reconsideration, the list of individuals who can submit a request has been revised to align with what we do for library materials, and that'll all be listed in the legal policy also. And then in library materials, that's from House Bill 900. It was also known as the Reader Act. This requires vendors to assign sexually explicit and sexually relevant ratings to any material the vendor determines meets the law's definitions. And then every odd numbered year, starting, it'll be January 1st, 2025, school districts must review the material in their collection that was rated sexually relevant and determine if it should remain in the collection or not. And those will be in the board policy.
Regarding CQC local technology resources equipment, this calls for us to implement guidelines as developed and suggested by TEA and the Texas Health and Human Services Commission that address the health and safety of students while using digital devices in schools. And these guidelines must address the use of devices for various ages and development levels, the amount of class time a student spends while using the device, appropriate frequency for breaks while using the devices, posturing and physical positioning of the devices, use of digital devices to complete homework, recommendations regarding total daily screen time, as well as the usage of software to block inappropriate content. And also will require teacher training regarding these guidelines to ensure proper implementation.
Mine are a little bit easier than those. DCE local is really just talking about non-Chapter 21 contracts. If there is a termination during the contract, the employee has the opportunity to bring that to the board. They've had that. They've just tried to strengthen the language on that and making sure that it's delineating between during the contract and at the end of the contract. DGBA local, the only thing that is different is that they've added the word series to that. CKE, as Travis talked about just a little bit ago, they've broken that out into several different components. DIA, they're going to do the same thing. DIA deals with the various types of harassment, employee harassment that could surface, and retaliation. Their plan is to break that out like some of the others. Instead of having one DIA policy, break that out into the several different components of it.
Good afternoon. Board policy EEH local has to do with instructional arrangements, specifically homebound instruction. The student attendance and accounting handbook has been updated for homebound instruction to include the term psychological reasons as a reason for needing homebound instruction. This is applicable to both general education and special education homebound. Previously, this policy included the language of medical reasons. So the changes, the inclusion of medical reasons as well as psychological reasons. What has not changed is that the requirements still include the provision of confinement to a hospital or homebound setting for a minimum of 4 weeks that do not have to be consecutive throughout the year, as well as it still must be a documented need by a physician. And for our students in special education, our committee has to consider whether or not that placement is appropriate to provide a free appropriate public education per the student's IEP. So those provisions have not changed, but the addition of psychological reasons has been added.
Mr. Carson.
Move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve to add, revise, and delete local policies as offered by TASB Policy Services for consideration and according to the instruction sheet for TASB Localized Policy Manual Update number 123 the local policy changes as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Parsons, second by Mr. Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item 7, convene into closed session for the purpose of considering matters for which closed session are authorized by Title V, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code .071 through .084 and .129. A, discuss teacher resignations and employee appointments, Texas Government Code 551.074. B, discuss consider approval of proposed offer to Entergy for the utility easements in front of elementary number 7, 15 acres. C, discuss consider possible approval of proposed offer for Entergy utility easement along the fence in front of Brabham and Metter Elementary School. D, considering possible approval, proposed offer to TxDOT for the land purchase along 75 on the corner of 830. The land will serve as new turning lane for Highway 75 and north of 830 west.
Can I say something?
Yep.
Before we close, if people are going to leave, I don't think a round of applause or a standing ovation will do her justice, but this will be Ms. Rogers' last board meeting. I'm not really sure that does her justice for the amount of time she's put in here at Willis, all the different things she's seen from being a PE teacher to doing what she does now. She's seen it all. Words can't express what you mean to me, my family, the school district, this community. Truly appreciate it. I hope Bobby doesn't work you to death, but we truly appreciate you and love you.
She was my PE teacher in elementary school. I think that was the only time she might have been taller than me.
And I think I think for me especially, the past year has been interesting with Dr. Harkrider leaving and Dr. Crow stepping in, and I'll tell you that the glue in this whole deal is the lady sitting down there at the end. The experience and knowledge that she has, you can't hire that. And so the effort that she gives to Willis ISD is unmeasurable. And so for me, I want to say thank you, because there's a lot of times I called and said, I have no clue what this is about or what I'm doing or anything. And she said, okay, beep, 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 beep. I was like, okay, it makes sense now. I appreciate you. And I think that just the effort that she puts into her office and her position being successful is something that we can all learn from. Definitely going to have a party for her. All right, so if you'll notice, we did it a little bit different this time. The fact that we went through our agenda items 4, and now we're going into closed session because we didn't want you to feel like you had to sit here during your summertime away from your family. And so we did that. Plus, it gives us a little bit of time if we need extra time, that we don't have time constraints as we're growing with Dr. James and all of us growing together. So we appreciate you guys. That's it. We will see here. Let me read my list. Hold on, Paulette. The board will now. No, I don't have to say anything. Perfect.
You want to say what time?
All done.
What time is it?
It is 6:20. The board will now reconvene in open session. It is, somebody got time for me?
8:36.
8:36. Are there any motions from closed session? Mr. Williams.
On item A, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve.
We have a motion and a second by Ms. Traylor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Mr. Williams.
On item B, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Mr. Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item C, Mr. Williams.
Move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation on item C and approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Ms. Traylor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Is there any board member comments?
Oh, I have something.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess, Coach Miller, you had athletic kids out there the other day giving out water and stuff with Robert Walker. Thank you. And we had 4-H kids and FFA kids out there working their tails off for about 5 hours.
Yeah, they did a great job.
But thanks for sending those kids out there. I'm sure they appreciated it.
Got to go for my own kids for a little bit, so I was trying to.
Superintendent comments.
Just a reminder that our future meetings will have a special meeting on Monday, July 22nd at 8 a.m. And an August regular meeting will be moved as you approved on Monday, August 19th at 5:30 p.m. And I would like to echo Ms. Pollett's comments just about all of the community members that went and helped and board members that helped our community with the tragedy of having all of their maybe electricity out or houses, you know, damaged. So it just is a testament to our community. So thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, second by Ms. Traylor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0.